I'm totally not ready. I'm totally not ready. I know we can't stop it, but I'm totally not ready. Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast. PrideOfDetroit.com. Pride of Detroit on X. Pride of Detroit on Blue Sky. Pride of Detroit on Facebook. See, I told you I wasn't ready. I told you I wasn't ready. I hadn't psyched myself up yet. We had some technical difficulties to get this off the ground as we come to you now live on twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit, youtube.com/@Pride of Detroit. It is the Pride of Detroit POD cast closing in on 10 years running, which is a terrifying reminder of my mortality as everything in my body breaks apart. And unrelated to any of that, we will be talking about veterans today. We will be talking about we like to play buy or sell every now and then and talk about, hey, what's going to happen with the Lions? And this week's theme is on the veterans. So we'll do a little buy or sell there. We're also going to continue Listcast on the NFC North, going over to receiving corps. So wide receivers and tight ends bundled into one. I am Chris Perfett, the adequate host at Perfett on Blue Sky, at Chris Perfett on X. Joining me, as always, the producer, I always forget your title. I'm like, you know what? Fearless leader. It is, but it makes me feel weird because I'm like a audio producer. So like, but they call you a producer, even though you're not like audio. Producer means like TV and audio, and you write.
Executive producer. I just pay for everything.
That is actually
no work. that's not
Jeremy Reisman at Detroit on Lion on X. Hi, buddy.
Hi. Yeah, just call me producer at Detroit. What was it?
I will smash you faster than a racket gets destroyed at Wimbledon.
Welcome to the DOP cast.
The dope cast. I like it. We do have Wimbledon going on, and maybe it's because I've been having Pim's Cup. Maybe that's why I'm just completely out of this. Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Hi, buddy.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
Not well, as we can pretty much discern right now, as everything was breaking like as I tried to start this. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you.
Well, we're actually here to talk about apparently the executive producer, Mr. Moneybags over here. I guess we're just going to call Jeremy the Nathan Lane of podcasts.
Not the Nathan Fielder?
No.
Nathan's a terrible name anyway. It doesn't matter.
We probably should have rehearsed this opening.
We never rehearse a damn thing on here. Radio's creed. Some people they'll plan for hours. We just turn on the microphones and whatever happens.
Yeah,
both are acceptable options.
We changed segment 2 yesterday earlier today while I was grocery shopping, because I was like, I think it's too easy to just do wide receivers. Got to lump in tight ends and make it hard on us.
Well, what's hard on the Detroit Lions is what's going to happen down the road, because the Lions are always full of young players. They draft very well. They want to rise from inside and build continuity. So today's edition of Buy or Sell, do we have any news before we begin, Jeremy?
Nope.
Because it's a really dead period. I know the Pablo Torre, Mike Florio firebomb on collusion was like tossed into this right now. But other than that, not really anything's going on. We had a Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, Minka Fitzpatrick swap, but none of this affronts the Lions, or at least on the latter part does.
Correct.
Unless you think the Lions can trade for TJ Watt. Shall we do a whole 20 minutes on that?
Absolutely not.
They need the edge help, Ryan. They need the edge help.
You even took the perfect transition into the segment that we're doing, and then you took a left turn for no reason to say that there's nothing else to talk about.
There's plenty to talk about, like veterans.
There we go.
What is Ryan writing on the board there? 0 days since talking about edge.
I had to reset the timer.
Reset the clock. I was just doing it someone's going to do that in earnest. But let's get back on topic. Veterans. So the Lions have a foundation of young players, but it also means then the veteran questions will be pretty rough. And I wanted to add, and I asked you guys a couple weeks ago, and I think this was mostly around my feelings about Taylor Decker and Alex Anzalone, but it goes with everyone else on the roster. Like, how long do certain guys have remaining with this team? Guys who are still nevertheless linchpins of the team. And Jeremy, with the way the Lions build the teams right now, I think it's safe to ask, like, how long are some of these guys going to have before it's like, hey, we do have to start giving some time to younger players so they're not completely green when we need them to start.
Well, yeah, and it's not just that. It's you're going to have to start paying those young players, right? You're going to have to start paying the 2023 draft class, which means you're going to have less money to pay the guys that are going on their third and fourth contracts and they're looking to cash in. And so I think, like, you know, the first one I listed on our outline here is Alex Anzalone. I think it's a perfect way to kind of start this conversation because he's kind of pushing the conversation to the forefront. Now, he hasn't publicly said he wants a new contract, but it certainly seems like most indications are that he wants a new contract. And when we've been talking about, all right, who can the Lions afford to pay down the line, not a lot of people have even talked about Alex Anzalone in that conversation, yet he's kind of at that forefront of like, okay, how much is it worth spending on 30-plus-year-old players when you have to pay a bunch of 24-year-olds a whole bunch of money in the next 2-3 years?
Yeah, and especially when, like, his replacement is kind of already on the roster, right? Like, I mean, the Lions at least drafted Jack Campbell to be the guy who kind of runs the machine. And though they play, you know, different positions, right? Like, Alex was playing the mic before,
right?
You know, then Jack comes in, gets comfortable with it eventually after a little brief travel over to Sam linebacker. That was a failed experiment. I remember that Ravens game all too well. Yeah. But like Jack has like really, I think, captured the attention of like the national perspective on the Lions too. Like a lot of people are really high on Jack Campbell. I think like less people who watch Lions football closely are as high on Jack Campbell as other people are, weirdly. And that, I don't think that's a knock on Jack Campbell, but I think that's almost kind of in service of the job that Alex Anzalone's done, right? And when Alex wasn't in the lineup last year, there was this noticeable dip beyond all the other injuries they incurred. It was Alex Anzalone's absence, Chris, that I thought a lot of people were like, man, if the Lions can just get him back healthy, they'll stand a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I said that as well, and I think a lot of that comes to the fact that, like, Anzalone was the man after Aiden Hutchinson, where it's like, okay, he's not going to have a ton of sacks on his record, but like you can see him making the pressures, and you can see him, and he got 7 tackles for losses this year. Like it was clear, it's like they started to run a lot of their pressure on the quarterback through Alex Anzalone. And it was like, that's why I think, yeah, when he was gone, it was like, all right, well, now the Lions are really in trouble. This is the guy who's like getting the defense into position. This is the guy who's, you know, trying to be, you know, productive, and now you've hit rock bottom with it. But like, as much as I love Alex Anzalone, Jeremy, it does bring up the question of like, how many more years will he have really here? He has, of all things, Alex Anzalone had his revival in Detroit, but he's going to be 31 on September 22nd. With the situation with Jack Campbell coming up and some of the other linebackers, does he have a place still on starting on the roster? And would the Lions be looking at like something like 2 years, $18 million?
Yes. I think Alex Anzalone is still absolutely worth it. I understand he's not the mic anymore. You know, I understand the green dot, if it hasn't already, is essentially Jack Campbell's. But for as much as we like the depth in terms of like the special teams guys, the guys that can play in a pinch, the Lions don't have a good off-ball linebacker succession plan right now. Because it's Jack Campbell, it's Derek Barnes, and who else? Nobody.
Grant Stewart.
I think Alex Anzalone played his best football last year. So I don't see this like cliff of, you know, oh, you're 31. Here comes the, you know, like you would at running back, right? Once you hit 30, everyone starts panicking. I'm not saying that can't happen at the linebacker position, but I don't see that with Alex Anzalone's trajectory, right? I mean, he didn't have a lot of taken on his tires in his first few years. Fix it there. And so I still think there's a lot of good football to be played. And this is why I do believe they're going to get an extension done, whether it's 8, 9, 10 million a year. I think they're going to get it done, and I think it's worth it because he's playing at the top of his game. He still is the guy that knows the defense the best. And I'm sure Jack Campbell would still benefit from having him in his ear for another year or two until it's time to pay Jack Campbell.
Yeah. I think we started to see the benefits of having Alex with, Jack Campbell after, last year, like you said, Alex having some of his best football that he's played and Jack coming up to speed and like I said, making an impression on the national audience. But I think you look at the linebacking core as a whole unit, and Derek Barnes has the most pass rushing upside, right? That's why he's playing Sam linebacker. That's why they're paying him an extension to stick around. And, his run defense is nothing to shake a stick at either. So he's really good at that too. But you see the path with Derek Barnes and how he fits. Well, he's the pass rusher. You see the fit with Jack Campbell where it's like this guy can fit the run and he can be a huge contributor in that remark. And that's why the Lions drafted him in the first round. And everybody was, oh man, Jack Campbell, a off-ball linebacker at 18. My goodness. Like, how does that make any sense? Well, they're a different team. That's why they drafted Tyleik Williams in the first round, right? And then you see Alex, and I think Alex's best quality that he surpasses every other linebacker in the room is like his coverage has gotten better each and every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know Malcolm Rodriguez isn't signed, but like I don't think that's Malcolm's strong suit.
Right.
Grant Stewart is a see ball, get ball guy. So I agree, Jeremy. Like that's the aspect of like, okay, like who's the coverage linebacker? Because I don't think we've seen flashes from Jack, but we haven't seen consistent play. Like Alex has consistently been really good in coverage, I think. And that's been the difference is that Alex is like the do-it-all guy. He's like the Swiss Army knife that like run defend, as Chris mentioned, pass rush on like designed and schemed up blitzes, and then in coverage. So like replacing him is hard. It's a lot harder than people are kind of giving it credit for.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the coverage thing too, because I was going to bring up Malcolm, right? Like Malcolm is maybe the one option where you're like, maybe this is the guy long term. But Malcolm's on the final year of his deal. He's probably due for a pretty significant raise. You would get considerably younger at the position. But the coverage is where it really would. Malcolm is an outstanding run defender, but who is going to be the guy that lines up opposite Austin Eckler or a tight end or whatever? And I mean, obviously you want to use your nickel maybe in as many situations as possible in those kind of situations, but at some point you're going to need a linebacker to cover. And I don't know who you can trust on this team outside of Alex Anzalone. I think the answer is probably someone that's not currently on the team.
So huge buy for Alex Anzalone. Here's where it starts to get interesting down the line. Taylor Decker. So I guess the question is I want to pose this, and if we can just go by like year real quick around and then get into the answers. Taylor Decker starting left tackle in 2026. Yes or no, Jeremy? Just yes or no. Come on, you can do one word.
Yes.
Okay. Ryan.
Yes, but not in Detroit.
Oh.
Okay, so no. Your answer's no.
Well, your question was, is he a starting left tackle?
Starting left tackle for the Lions.
No.
Okay. I would say yes, but let me pose this to Jeremy and myself since you're already no. 2027 starting left tackle for the Lions, Jeremy.
I'm going to say no, but it's certainly possible.
I would also say no. So I think we're all in agreement that it's kind of starting to run, the candle's starting to burn a little low for Taylor Decker. It's just a matter of when. Jeremy,
you didn't ask me about 27. I would have said yes.
You would have come back? 1 year deal?
The Graham Glasgow?
Yes.
He's coming home?
Hashtag coming home. Hashtag get the band back together.
One big thing to start is the cap hits, right? Like the Lions are already trying to play with, I think, who's going to be Taylor Decker's, but like it's really right now the big answer, the only answer they really have for that is Manu, and that is still a developmental project, so that's not really much of an answer. The 2026 cap hit, 2.13 million. You could save. I think.
I'm sorry, 21.3 million.
Did I screw up the? Okay,
you said 2.13.
2.1. Blah 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 blah. Could save about 12 million if cut or traded, but then in 2027, it is a little over 24 million, and you could save close to 18 million if cut or traded. That's kind of where the situation is. So the cap hits, but not terribly different, but the savings start to become a bit more of a bump, Jeremy, in 2027.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's that's kind of the big question, right? It's like, is the savings plus, yeah. Anyway, sorry, go on.
No, I mean that's how contracts are formatted, right? You get all the guaranteed money out of the way, which means you can basically get out of those contracts in the last year. It's why when you're looking at the way a deal is set up, you generally subtract a certain amount of money and subtract 1 year, because that's the general length of those deals in a practical sense. So 2027 is the final year of his deal. Almost no guaranteed money. Basically, you save everything but about $6 million of dead cap, which is more than reasonable. And I don't know. I mean, we keep talking about ways this team is going to need to save cap space, and ways that they're going to transition from their old offensive line to their younger defensive line. And the conversations about getting rid of Taylor Decker have always been premature, but they stop being premature next year. They really do. He's still playing at a very high level. A lot of people were talking about trading him just because he was near 30 and he was a good player, and the Lions needed resources. They needed draft picks. They needed anything they could because they weren't a good team. Well, now they're a good team, and it's almost the opposite. Like, they're so good that now they might not be able to pay all their good players. And so this is a really tricky one that starts next year. And to me, the flipping of the switch of like, okay, we have to move on from Taylor Decker is entirely surrounding Giovanni Manu. I don't think the Lions are going to go out and actively draft a starting left tackle next year. First of all, it's going to be hard to find one when you're picking 32nd overall. Second of all, I think they're just going to rely on what they see out of Gio. And they were talking him up a lot towards the end of last year, talking him up a little bit this spring too, but we haven't seen it. And so I'm not quite ready to make that jump and say Gio's going to be the starting left tackle in 2026, but it's on the table. It's absolutely on the table.
Yeah, that's the biggest factor in, I think, what the Detroit Lions do with Taylor Decker. And I know, I mean, he turns 32 in August, so and that's the part of his game that I think has always been, it's been pretty consistently average, is the pass blocking, right? Like, if he's one-on-one with a guy who's athletic, it can be a long day for Taylor Decker. And we saw the Lions scheme up a lot of protection to keep people off Jared Goff when he's faced with a super athletic guy in terms of profile. So he's always been a great run blocker. So he's always been a great fit here ever since Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson wanted to run the football. So he fits here. But as he gets older, and like he's a guy who isn't like free from like getting dinged up. Like, he's dealt with a lot of injuries over the course of his career. I mean, I'm not trying to put this out into the world either, but like, being such good buddies with Frank Ragnow, and I mean, I don't know. Like, I know everybody's built differently, but you start getting to 32, and then by the following year, he'll be 33 before the season starts. And I mean, you're getting up there in age. And I don't think that Taylor Decker is one of these like Trent Williams or, some of these guys who are just like crazy athletic and can maximize, right, a lengthy career in the same way that Taylor Decker would be. I don't know. He's not Jason Peters, right? Like, he's not going to stick around the league until he's 40.
The one fly in the ointment for me is I just don't think it is right now. Like, it's tough for me to see Manu taking over on the slot right now, over on the position of left tackle right now. I know that's the goal, but I mean, it's a lot to ask when I haven't even seen, like, I guess we'll see more of it come training camp, and maybe we'll see some of it in the preseason and see how Manu is coming along in year two.
You're going to see a lot of it.
Yeah.
You might not leave left tackle during the preseason.
But I guess I am like hedging a little bit on this idea that Manu is going to play 4 games of preseason, look amazing, and we're all ready to move on from Decker after that.
Well, it's not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Like, it would happen after this year.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, but if it's happening after this year too, you then would also, like, if you're planning to move on from Decker, you do have the option of just drafting, a first round grade of a first round talent next year at for a tackle as well.
Yeah. Or it's just Geo.
Right.
Geo and Panay. Because I think when it comes to roster construction though, can you really redshirt a guy 3 years when he had a 4-year rookie contract?
You're not getting the value out of his rookie contract when you're doing that, right? Obviously, if he just turns out to be OT3, that's fine.
Yeah, if he has Dan Skipper's role, that's awesome.
But I can't shake leaning into the ceiling of him. One, because of the athleticism. Two, because of the hype around him at the end of the year. And then three, he's literally working out with Taylor Decker down with Charles Bentley. It's hard for me to look at those optics and not see Taylor Decker saying, come along, you're
Here's
going
my successor. Right, yeah.
Literally being the mentor that he absolutely needs to be. And so I don't know, it's just very strong optics, even though I am recognizing that is the absolute ceiling. That is the everything turned out perfectly response to Gio getting drafted.
All right, let's say on the offensive line. So that's kind of a mixed sell for us, but I think it's sell in the near future. Graham Glasgow, you have to have him for this year, obviously. And I really do agree with the sentiment from Brandon Knapp that, there's a lot of sense to be made of Graham Glasgow being the option at center, although we'll see how their work with Tate Ratledge goes. But I think that's ultimately what he's 2025 Graham Glasgow isn't a question. 2026 Graham Glasgow, absolutely. So he's 30. He's 32. He'll be 33 before the season. He's had injuries. Center is not, I would say, he's had a lot of experience at center, but we're kind of jumping between center and guard. Before the Frank Ragnow retirement, I think there was even a question of whether he'd make the roster in 2025. We were kind of having that discussion. I think it would have been a long shot for him to not to make the roster, but it was at least a possibility. Now it's he's here for 2025, but Jeremy, that can't be a long-term option for the Lions at all. So I've got to imagine by 2026 it starts to turn into a sell position unless there's a real bounce back year for Glasgow.
I mean, it's tough because he's still under contract in 2026, and honestly, when they got that 3-year extension done with Graham, that's a great deal for Detroit. It was right before some of the guards got huge deals, literally 2 or 3 days later, and I think Graham even joked in his press conference, I feel like I should have waited 48 hours before I made that deal. So an $8.4 million cap hit for Graham in 2026. You can recoup maybe 5.5 of that if you decide to cut or move on from him. But to me, the value of having a guy that can play guard, that can play center, that can be a veteran in an extremely young interior offensive line, I think that's worth it. And I think, quite frankly, that he's going to play better this year than he did last. I know you're only as good as your last performance, and he wasn't great last year, but he was the year before. He was a top 10 guard by PFF rankings and by the eye. And I just don't think that goes away in an instant like that. And so we know he was battling through some injuries last year. He had a knee problem that he basically had to finish the season on. I think he missed one game because of it, but just played through the rest. And so to me, I think he can be on the Lions kind of as long as he wants to. I think that includes I think he should be around for the 2026 season. And depending on how Tate Ratledge works out at center or guard, I think there's even a chance of a year extension there. But again, that it's tough to see how a 34-year-old is going to be playing 2 years down the line and know whether to extend him or not. But I'm a Graham Glasgow fan. I think he's better than some people give him credit for, and I think the versatility and depth and veteran presence that he brings are pretty darn important to an interior offensive line that has more questions than answers.
Yeah, I think the versatility is great from a stopgap standpoint. I think last year, for whatever reason, right? They do different things with either side of the line when it comes to guard, and that move from right guard to left guard just didn't work out well for Graham last year. So in spot duty, can he slide over? Can he, step in for somebody who's injured? I think that's the path after this season. But really, that all comes back to his performance this year. I think if I think the best ideal scenario for Detroit is that Tate Ratledge is ready to play center from day one. And if Graham Glasgow can play right guard, then I think they're in a really good spot with Mahogany at left guard. I think that's your interior of your offensive line. Again, it's a big if with Tate. I just think that Graham's better suited at this point in his career to just play that right guard spot. And I agree, Jeremy. Like, it's super useful to have that veteran guy who can step in a pinch. It's just, it kind of reminds me of Evan Brown in a little bit of a way, where it's like, man, he's good at center. He can also step in at guard. It's like, yeah, he can step in, but he should like step out too when they don't need him to play that spot, and when he's kind of forced to play more than his welcome at a spot. And it's like, it's no knock. It's just, I think, you get to a certain point in your career and like, you'll just get better if you keep on riding the bike at the same position, and like you start getting moved around. And I think that'll be tough for Graham to navigate, but this year is going to be the most telling year for him for sure.
They've asked a lot of him in the past 2-3 years.
Yeah. That's hard. That's really hard.
All right. Tim Patrick. Can he hold off Isaac Teslaw for a whole year?
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Why is that?
I think there's going to be a lot of seasoning for Isaac Teslaw this year, and that's fine. And everybody should be ready for that. Like, I think you should, with my son right now, we're doing like, hey, when you need to be patient, you just need to press your nose. Where's your patient button at?
Boop the nose.
This is your patient button on your nose. With Lions fans, when you see Tim Patrick out there and you're like, why is Isaac Teslaw not getting any? Just push your patient button and relax and sit and wait, because the guy doesn't need to play big snaps this year. He needs to get acclimated to the NFL. And the best thing he can do, Jeremy, is be in the same room as a veteran like Tim Patrick and learn the ropes, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's how the season is going to play out. I've compared it a couple times to Sione Vaki last year, and I think that makes sense, right? There's obviously a bigger path for Teslaw to play in the future because Tim Patrick is in his 30s. He's on a 1-year deal. I think the plan is probably for Teslaw to be a starter next year. But in this year, like, you have a good set of receivers ahead of you. Just play those good, reliable guys. And if you can eventually carve out a role for Teslaw, yeah, maybe try and do that. Have a sub package where he plays, 3 to 6 snaps a game. But I don't know if he's not like the kind of gadget play kind of guy that I think you necessarily need to do that. If you want to do it just for developmental sake, like, I get it, but I'm with you. I think we're mostly going to see Tim Patrick from week 1 to week 18 and beyond. So
I don't even see any conflict between patient button, but also I don't even see any conflict on the two, or why even the question of why Tim Patrick has to hold off to Slaw, because like, you look at the depth on the wide receivers on here, and yes, you do have St. Brown, J-Mo, Tim Patrick, Leaf, but then it starts to get thin after that. Like, you've got Dominic Lovett, who's also the rookie, but what was it, 7th round, right? Yeah, 7th round. But then after that, it's like, there's Teslaw, and then there's Ronnie Bell and Tom Kennedy, and that's the kind of, I know I'm already making enemies by going after everyone's favorite Tom Kennedy here, but there's plenty of room for him right now in 2025 as the depth wide receiver, as he is, as Ryan says, getting acclimated to the NFL, and use him for specific purposes. I don't see that conflict right there at all, really. Like, so I think it's Ryan. It's the frustration, as always, with we're never going to be free of the discourse around the draft capital of the Teslaw pick. But there's ways for both to live in harmony on the final 53-man roster. There has and through 18 weeks as well.
Yeah. Not to borrow another analogy from parenting, but my parents bought sleds for my kids, and Christmas morning there was no snow. So like, for Lions fans, you draft somebody like Teslaw, you want to take that toy out and take it for a spin, right? Well, you might just have to wait. You might have to wait a day or two.
You might have to go up to find some peaks or something.
But Tassau's also going to play.
slopes.
He's going to play some special teams though. So like, you can use him like on a lake. Is that
So
how a
it's a jet
sled
ski
works?
now. I guess can you wakeboard with these sleds, Ryan?
I think we should talk about DJ Reader. This analogy has gone off the rails.
Sure, DJ Reader. Are you buying or selling him? Still having a dominant run defense in 2025, Jeremy?
I'm buying, and maybe this is just like off-season rosy. Everyone is going to play to their full potential.
No,
thoughts?
say it. It's
Say it.
He's not rehabbing.
Yeah, he's feeling the best he has. It's the best shape he's ever been
shape
in.
of his life.
But no, like I am a firm believer in the year after an injury jump, right? It's not just getting back on the field. It's the year after getting back on the field in which players, I mean, time and time again, you hear it from players. You don't quite trust yourself. You don't quite feel like yourself the first time you get out on the field. But that year after where like the mental hurdle is gone, the physical hurdle is gone, you get to spend an entire offseason doing football things, not rehab things, and you see a jump. And I understand DJ Reader's at the point of his career where jumps are not going to be coming very often. There's not that much for him to learn or to grow at this point in his career. But I do think people forget One, I think they probably underestimated his impact last year. Two, I think they forget that he didn't even start the year. He missed the first game of the season because he was still rehabbing from that torn quad. So I think we're going to see a DJ Reader closer to what they paid for this year. And the other aspect of that, too, is they don't need to make him play 70% of the snaps anymore. They have guys that they can come in and spell him a little bit so that he's only playing around 50% of the snaps so that he can be playing his best football in December, in January. And so I think you're going to be very pleased with how he plays this year. And we talked a little bit about it in the midweek mailbag. I think that means the Lions' run defense is going to take another step up after maybe taking a half step back last year.
Yeah, that's how you kind of rationalize. You take Tyleik Williams, you sign Lopez to a contract. It's not just, well, you're getting more talent, you're also getting more rotational talent. And you keep DJ Reader fresh, and you keep Roy Lopez fresh, and you don't have to put a ton on Tyleik Williams' plate from day one. So that's exciting. I don't know about dominant run defender, but I definitely buy him being better than he was last year. And if he's better than he was last year, then the Lions' run defense is that much better, which is great news for them. So, and I think of all the guys we talked about, Decker, Graham, the veterans who, hey, it's great to have that guy to be in Gio's ear, to be in, the new guard's ears. DJ Reader is probably the best of the three to have when you have Tyleik Williams. And you have, other guys along that line. Broderick Martin, he's still a project that, that was mentioned day one on DJ Reader's press conference, right? Where it's like, hey, and Broderick in the best shape of his life too. Now he's not eating Jets pizza anymore every day. So that's a true story. That's not just a knock, but check out Dave Burkett's report on that. But anyway, so like that, I'm most excited for DJ Reader to be one, like you mentioned, Jeremy, that year after the offseason surgery, and two, like I'm really excited for DJ Reader and Tyleik Williams for some reason. Like I'm interested to see how that's going to fit and how that's going to play.
If I thought you went full Mike Tannenbaum on us for a second.
I was not fat shaming. I was celebrating fitness.
Well, we're going to help you get fit with some Righteous Felon craft jerky and meat sticks. It is the meat that fuels the Pride of Detroit POD cast, especially when I am stumbling around because of my particular brain problems. So, hey, bags of jerky with 16-20 grams of protein. Meat sticks with 8 grams of protein. Protein gets the everything firing, the brain cells, the muscles, all of it. It's good for you. It's good. It's good stuff. Meat's good stuff. Righteous Felon, based in Westchester, Pennsylvania, using locally sourced all-natural Black Angus beef, prides themselves on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. It's the summertime. I'm not saying you can cool down with meat, but you can keep yourself going for whatever your athletic goals are. Go to righteousfelon.com, use the promo code POD15 at checkout, get 15% off your order. Any size order, no matter how big, how small, how many flavors you want, it's all there for you. The Soul Survivor, the Foul Capone, the Bourbon Franklin, all of that 15% off when you use the promo code Pride of Detroit. The promo code POD15 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast, first off, I will sack myself. And then after that, we will then move on to the list cast for wide receivers, tight ends, basically receiving cores around the NFC North. That's next.
Oh,
Hi, chat.
Turbo Crud. I haven't had Jets in forever now.
Oh man,
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to get into training camp shape so that I pass the conditioning test. But just
I might be like this because I got I had like 3 or 4 drinks last night and had a ton of pizza. So maybe this is. I'm usually not one that I'm like, yeah, I'm hungover or stupid, but this might be it. This might be it for me.
Andrew, 8.7. I'm trying to make this a thing, and chat's not playing along. But I think the segue into the ad read should be graded by chat every single time he does it out of 10.
That's right.
And
I gave him a 9.8 on the first one.
The first one? The segue from what to what?
Sorry,
from the intro to
the show?
The veterans, yeah.
Okay.
That we were talking about. I forgot what it was, but it was a 9.8.
I thought this one was maybe your best.
Nice.
And that earned an 8.7?
That earned an 8.7. That's
like I said in the chat.
Listen, I know you're a modern teacher and you're all about grade inflation.
Trying to say something.
It's a B plus. I gotta like still dangle the carrot a little bit. I can't just give him a 10. Gets complacent that way.
Manipulation.
Can I talk now?
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just was trying to say something. Never mind. Like I completely killed my whole thing on DJ Reed because I'm like wanting to get on the clock integrity here. But I'll take an A-. That's good. That's fine.
There was not a beat writer combine this year. I don't know if they'll do it at the end of training camp or what. No one has really asked about it, and I'm not gonna push the issue as long as my name's still on the front of that building, that room.
That's so cowardly. Go through alerts, please.
I mean, that's also cowardly of them. They have to if they actually care about that title, they should be pushing that.
True. Come at me.
So
Come at me, bros.
Sounded like Chris just kind of questioned the integrity of your nameplate.
Nah, I think he's questioning the integrity of my competition.
I am saying there is a bit of responsibility that falls to the other beat writers to actually hold Jeremy's feet to the fire.
Agreed.
That's the problem with this country. Journalism has no integrity anymore. Cowards.
Oh boy, the transitions are really great today, Chris.
Wasn't even transitioning anywhere there, but
all right. I'm gonna get through alerts. Texas Wolverine does have a list cast.
Oh no!
So I'm gonna throw that out there now. Top 5 pizza chains with at least 50 stores nationwide. So marinate on that for a little bit while I go through the alerts. Because I guess there's just a never-ending push to make me order pizza tonight. LGB Rough, 61 months subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much. Lasermouse, 22 months subscribed. J-Dubs, 52. Your boy Maroc, 36. Sitherly, 24. That's 2 years. Robo, 42 months, says Jeremy hates mozzarella sticks and David Montgomery. Are you guys still going to give me crap about the
yes.
I saw someone completely misrepresent my take and said that I said that I
Jordan
can't even remember his
Mason.
name. I said that Jordan Mason was in a tier above David Montgomery, which is not at all what I said. I said they're in the same tier and David Montgomery is above him.
In the tier?
But they're in the same tier.
Oh. I feel like that's kind of crapping on David Montgomery a little bit.
I called Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery like the standard, and then it's the whole like Jared Goff, you're the what is it, not the rip off, the knockoff, is it knockoff?
Poor man's?
Poor man's. The poor man's, yes.
The discount, this dollar king.
Yes. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. Are the poor man's
the off-brand version of yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I said. That's not that bad.
I don't know, guys. I think I would rewind the tape. Someone clipped Jeremy saying that Dave Montgomery is
Don't do
not
that.
the standard.
All right. Nick the Greek, 55 months, says, if you don't love me at my Matt Patricia, you don't deserve me at my Dan Campbell.
Here we go.
Yeah.
That's beautiful in a way.
If you don't love me at my Dave Montgomery, you don't deserve me at my Jordan Mason.
No, you mixed them up because no one is saying Jordan Mason is better. No one. K Fletch, 21 months. If I'm buying that the Lions are being slept on this year and that you need to bring back Bleef. I do the ad read once. And people still say Bleef.
Bleef
Raymond.
Bleef Raymond.
Bleef in the Lions.
Are we shouting out other podcasts now?
I'm doing pizza chain research.
I am too. That it's set at 50 has opened up some very interesting options, Ryan.
Yeah, Yep. Jeremy's missing out right now.
That's right.
Do you have your 5 off the top of your head or no?
Me? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. You keep reading, and then
I'm
Chris
gonna
and I will do our
keep
list,
going,
and
keep
we'll
going.
give you time to
All
do
I know
research.
is I'm going to have some controversial opinions.
Oh no, I guarantee you my number one is one neither of you have gone to. But it counts.
Okay. Q Note, 7 months subscribed to us on Twitch. Thank you so much. Frogbark, 11 months, says go Loins. Dirty Gert,
Go
11
Loins.
months, says holy crap, I actually caught a live show. Go Loins. Throws a bunch of emotes in the chat. Thanks, Dirty Gert, and welcome. Thanks
I
for
know
hanging
this is
out
kind
live.
of the latest we've done in a while now, so
A little bit. Madi Too Hottie, 44 months, subscribed to the channel, says happy Rodrigo sub month. Indeed, 44. Ashcard, 30 months, subscribed to the channel, says wild 30-month anniversary. Are the Lions window for a Super Bowl lower or greater than 30 months? Oh, it's greater. 2.5 years, the Super Bowl window? Nah, it's here until Goff is gone. How's that for a take? Mr. Jared Goff is the reason they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Turned out to be true last year.
Oh, wow. He's the only reason, I'm sure.
Teddy Bridgewater's efficiency was much better.
Stop it.
In
Stop it
our
right
vehicle.
now. All right. And I believe we are caught up. So who wants to start dropping some pizza knowledge?
ooh. I'm ready. Are you ready, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You want me to go first or you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Again, I guarantee my number one you guys probably haven't gone to, but I really want people to go to it because but let's start. Number 5, I'm going to put Marco's Pizza there. We're finally getting it out here in the Valley, and it is delicious. I've had it in Georgia. Pretty much everywhere I've gone in the country except for Vancouver, there has been Marco's Pizza. So I am very happy with Marco's Pizza. Number 4 is Jets. I do miss it. I think it qualifies because it has 400 locations, and the threshold we set was 50. Number 3, and you can tell me if this doesn't count, Ryan. If it is, then I'll have to scramble and find something else. California Pizza Kitchen.
That
I
counts.
feel like that
definitely
counts.
That counts? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't speculate that it has to be delivery or anything.
Yeah, but I just think I've had a lot of places where I've gone and tried to do the barbecue chicken pizza, but the CPK barbecue chicken pizza is completely unbeaten. It's still probably my favorite barbecue chicken pizza.
I'm a fan of their chicken thai. That's my go-to there.
Chicken thigh.
Mm-hmm.
Number
Thai
2 is this is going to be a very personal one, and maybe I think I should have put CPK above this, but Cottage Inn. Solid all around pizza.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a good pick.
I know that's kind of only I think Ohio and Michigan, but I believe it is over 50 stores, so that qualifies for the list. And then number 1, I had this down in North Carolina and in Savannah, Georgia. It has 170 locations. It's mostly around the South, but I want to say they're like if you can find some up where you are at. Number 1 is Mellow Mushroom.
Oh, I've been to a Mellow Mushroom.
You've actually heard of Mellow Mushroom.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Their pizzas are fucking amazing.
There was a owner in some Florida location. I don't think it's around anymore. I think it closed up. That was a Lions fan.
Yeah. So like, also the only pizza place where you can actually go and get like a caprese salad on top of everything too. But also just in general, their pizzas, usually a lot of white sauce. They do the whole thing, the Mellow Mushroom, they do a lot of haha hippie jokes and everything. But I think it was the Philosopher's Pie, which is like beef and they did like steak and mushrooms with a white sauce and some artichoke and with like garlic, an olive oil drizzled across it. It's very good, very unique pizzas. So Mellow Mushroom is my number 1.
Can't say that I've had it, but I'll take your word for it.
What's up? What's yours? What you got?
Oh, gosh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. My honorable mention, because they only have 24, soon to be 25 locations, is Papa Romano's. They don't fit the 50 store threshold, but they have like some of my favorite like thin crust pizza. It's really good. Number 5 is Little Caesars, and I don't care if that's controversial. There's something to be said about knowing what you're getting, and there's something to be said about value, and like can feed a family for like 2 days on like $20 worth of Little Caesars pizza.
Yeah.
So it belongs on the list at 5. Number 4 is going to be Happy's Pizza.
Okay.
I'm kind of a Happy's Pizza truther.
Man, I kind of want to add them to my list now.
I did not count the locations, but I think there should be at least 50.
Oh, I think there's way more.
I didn't know how, like, is that super national?
What? Sorry, what is it again?
Happy's
Pizza? Happy's Pizza?
Happy's Pizza. It's listed. It's basically Michigan and Ohio.
I saw Michigan and Ohio.
Locations.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
65. Okay, perfect.
Oh, there's apparently locations in Nevada and California as well. So
I was gonna say, I thought I saw.
it's one of those things like Olga's where it's like it's only Ohio and Michigan, but then all of a sudden the snowbirds basically brought it to the West Coast as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's, and I was talking to a buddy yesterday when we were having lunch, and he spent time in upstate New York teaching, and then also kind of living out there for a while. But I was asking him like what was his like bigger like food culture shocks, and he was like, up there, like if you ordered pizza, you were ordering wings too. Like it was weird to like order pizza without ordering wings. Like it was viewed as like if you're getting one, you're getting the other kind of thing. But that's Happy's Pizza to a T. Is like if I'm ordering pizza there, I'm also ordering wings. So shout out Happy's Pizza. At number 4. Number 3, I'm going Guido's.
I don't know. Guido's.
This is funny because like the problem is I have a pizza place near me called Guido's as well, but I swear to God, like Guido's is a name used by like 30 different unaffiliated pizza places too. So I don't even know if that's the Guido's we're talking about.
That's fair. I looked them up, and I think that they're big enough, and I think they have they have a big enough number. Let me see real quick.
Yeah,
I think you're cheating, but I'm okay with it.
I don't feel like I'm cheating.
No,
I
Chicago.
don't want to cheat.
I just gotta say too, maybe this falls on me a little bit, but like we haven't mentioned any of the Chicago, like no Lou Malnati's, no Geno's.
They have 50 locations at either of those? I thought they had like 2.
Lou Malnati's you can get like delivery, like you can get that shit like. Okay, so apparently I'm looking. Lou Malnati's has 61 locations in Chicago, 8 in Phoenix, 5 in Milwaukee, but 6 in Indianapolis.
Like we're at this point, like we're breaking. Maybe like we're technically right, but I think the whole point of this is just national brands. That's not a national brand. That's a Chicago brand.
Sure.
It's like
we
saying
have a few
buddies
on here that are just Michigan plus Ohio.
I didn't. I don't. I might.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so upon further review, Guido's not as big of a chain as I thought it was. But shout out to their map, because there's just a huge cluster in southeastern Detroit. And then you zoom out of the map, and there's one at the very tippy top at Sault Ste. Marie. So shout out Guido's Pizza. But whatever. Then I combined Guido's and Papa Romano's. So that's over 50 locations.
Sure.
That's fair.
Cottage Inn is my number 2. Cottage Inn is very
Solid.
good pizza.
Solid pizza.
Different kinds of pizza.
Mhm.
Always happy with Cottage Inn.
Their subs are pretty good too.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, they do the they do like the like the cinnamon sticks with the
Yeah.
icing
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I mean, take care of dessert. They were doing like oh man, it was like an apple pie they would make like with kind of like pizza dough. It was like an apple pizza basically. Yeah. And
Oh man, like an apple calzone or something.
Kind of, it was all open face because it was like just
okay.
pieces of apples and then like the like the caramelized apple sauces, like the whatever. But yeah, no, that was really good. And then number 1 is Jets.
Okay.
What you got, Jeremy?
I also have.
Did I stall? Did I give you enough time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is a completely refined list, but it'll do.
It's fine.
Because I kind of want to put Happies in there now, but I got to stay true to my initial thoughts.
Real quick before you dive into this, I am just looking at some of these like national pizza chains on Wikipedia. First off, it's listing Chuck E. Cheese on here and CC's, but also I've never heard of Godfather's Pizza. I've never heard of Grimaldi's or MOD.
I've heard of Mod. Mod's pretty famous. It's like it's like a fast food type of thing where you like order it and then they wood fire it and then they send it back to you.
Okay, but I've definitely never heard of Grimaldi's, but apparently this is a big thing out of like Brooklyn or something. So
yeah.
First of all, I want to congratulate all three of us for not putting Domino's, Pizza Hut, or I don't know, any of those
Papa John's.
I don't think any of us were going to put Papa John's on a list.
My number 4 is Papa John's.
Jeremy's trying to get canceled.
Listen, he's out of the company now. All right, Papa is no longer there.
Now. It's Shaq's company now, don't you know? Shaq-a-roni. I will say,
Papa John's pizza is the best delivery pizza.
They got to rename
national
it,
chain, probably, but like,
can I be honest?
I even respect for hell the pepper. I don't like. I know it's mostly symbolic, and I don't even like. No. I don't love it, but it's a gesture that I really do appreciate because it's not mainstream. Like, it makes them feel a little different. Like, I will Domino's
say this,
and Pizza Hut wouldn't do that because they're like, that's too spicy for people that like our pizza.
I used to crush a lot of the cheese sticks off of Papa John's when I was younger. That was always a very good like teenage pig out meal. I will say also that Papa John's also, I will always give them credit in that they will give you the pizza scorching fucking hot. It is the hottest. It might be. I don't know if it's the best like takeout pizza, but it is definitely the hottest. That the only pizza I've ever gotten home, I'm like, damn, this still needs to cool off every time. It will scald your mouth.
Papa Romano's does the crushed red pepper too, and I always appreciate it.
Right?
I get crushed red pepper when I get.
You got a little garlic sauce that comes with every pizza. Like, who else is doing it like Papa John's does?
They charge for that now, though.
Do they?
They
doesn't come free anymore?
for garlic cups. Yeah. I think you get like one free with the pizza, but then anything else is like a charge.
No one else comes one free with a pizza.
Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. Of course, more sauce is going to cost more.
Except, I think Little Caesars. Like Little Caesars, like those people are always just like, here you go. Here's the pizza sauce. Like, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, go ask for them. Yeah.
They charge me 99 cents or $1.99 for that.
That's why you order ahead and just make the dough eyes at them.
I'm a Little Caesars alum. What's happening?
Were they number 5 on your list?
Yes, they were.
Okay. All right.
And you know why I think Little Caesars deserves to be on this list? Because I work there. And if you work somewhere and you will still eating their food, they must be doing something right. Because most people say, I won't eat that garbage. I know what happens to it.
Yeah.
And
hey, man, their lunch deal is still unbeaten. The only place where it's like, here's a $5 lunch that is actually today's lunch and tomorrow's lunch and a drink with it. for $5.
Yeah. Plus,
Because who the fuck is eating 4 slices of Detroit deep dish?
crazy bread. That's my that's my answer to any criticism. Crazy bread.
And I think their cheese sticks, the Italian seasoning on the cheese sticks is some of the best. Like, I know it doesn't taste high quality, but it tastes good.
Yeah.
Pizza doesn't need to be high quality either. Like, this is pizza. Like, I get if you're like, oh, here's a fancy margarita, wood fire and everything. That's fantastic. But here in America, pizza means cheap, quick, and filling.
Yeah.
And Caesar's hits all those.
It's that way in New York too, right? Like, you just want to go at
get a
11
classic
p.m. and
slice.
get a slice for $2.
By the way, can we talk about the guy getting smacked in the face with that slice of pie? I posted it in Slack the other night. I thought it was Dave Portnoy. I thought it was Dave Portnoy, and apparently it wasn't.
Oh yeah, that got debunked.
Yeah.
Let me finish my list. I got 3 more here.
Yeah. And we'll review I just want to talk about this guy's pie throw. Holy shit.
California Pizza Kitchen is my number 3.
Knew it, you Cali boy.
Hell yeah.
You can take the boy out of Cali, but you can't take the Cali out of the boy.
There is not a restaurant pizza I like more than a Thai chicken California Pizza Kitchen. I might go back on that if I think about it more, but it feels true right now when I'm saying it. It is phenomenal. And so much so where, like, they sell those frozen, and they should, because they're very, very good. Jets is my number 2. It's just very solid pizza every single time. I even mess around with their circle pizzas sometimes, the round pizzas. Not often, but sometimes, because I think they do a good job with those too.
Okay.
And then I think Cottage Inn is the best. I think we might be skirting the rules there with 50 or more. It's probably pretty close.
They're in Michigan and Ohio, though, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that's true of a lot of these kind of stuff, is like, if you're in Michigan, you're also in Ohio.
I clicked on their wiki and it says number of locations 50 plus. So
okay, so it's close.
Yeah,
but I've gotten the Roma pesto pizza. Try it if you haven't already. Sun-dried tomatoes, spinach, tomato, feta, swirl of pesto.
If Cottage Inn isn't
like
national, it needs to be national. I think we can settle on that. How about that? Like, sure. Cottage Inn is good enough; it should be a national chain.
No, because then private equity will ruin it. Stay away from Cottage Inn pizza.
That's actually pretty good.
That's fair.
But I'm telling you, Roma pesto, do it. You know what? I'm looking at their menu right now because there's a pretty darn close Cottage Inn to me, and it's seeming more and more likely this is going to be my dinner option. We're all getting pizza
tonight. I just had a pizza last night. I can't do this again.
So they have a hot honey chicken option, and I have not ventured into hot honey. I have not, like, that craze, that trend right now. I have not dipped my toe in it. Is it a real thing or is it overrated?
It's overrated.
I wonder if that would be. I mean, that feels so easy to just marry with a biscuit, right? Like hot honey chicken biscuit sandwich. Yeah. That seems.
They're putting it
natural.
on like
pizza seems a little adventurous.
They're putting it on like pepperoni at Jersey Mike's, and I can't. They're putting it on like Italian meats at Jersey Mike's, and I'm like, this is the part where I'm just like,
private equity. No. Jersey Mike's got bought up. They
By the way, I was looking, since people are talking about Godfather Pizza, the one closest to me is up in Barstow. I'm not making that
where that is. I don't even know where that is, and I lived in LA.
Barstow is like, it is basically on the road to Las Vegas.
Dude, I want this now from Cottage Inn.
Zizix.
Have you ever had their Cuban pizza? This thing looks incredible.
I don't know. They don't even have it here by
So wait, Cuban pizza as in like, I'm looking. Are those pickles though?
Yeah.
I'm out.
I might be out too.
No. Tangy Carolina Gold barbecue sauce on anything, and I'm in.
I think I'm just rather get a Hawaiian.
Chad is all in on hot honey.
We can shut down the pizza conversation after.
I know all you guys are gonna go order pizza now. So like, we got to stop before this.
We need a pizza sponsor. If you're watching the podcast We're looking for a
We've
pizza
tried
sponsor.
for Jets since day one, and they
That's
won't
true.
return
They're
our
too big.
fucking phone calls.
They're too big. They're too big.
Cottage Inn. What about you guys?
I'm not just the owner. I'm a client. That's not true. But I'm not just a spokesperson, but I'm a kind of client.
I'm a patron. Yeah, I mean, like, I'll do Lokeries down the road from us. There's one location. I want our picture though up like we're like a T-ball team.
I will say the one that I'm glad didn't make anyone's list too, because I hate it. I'm glad nobody listed Blaze.
What's Blaze? Is that the same
Like
thing as
Blaze
a
mod kind of thing?
Blaze,
Okay.
Right?
yeah. It's
Same
the
deal as
same
mod.
thing. You go in, they make it to order or whatever. But I've been to Blaze exactly once, and I've had just a searing hatred of it.
Why?
I find it stupid. That's all.
It's just the
It's
most
just one of
Chris
those
answer
things.
ever.
Also, no.
That makes Chris
It's
irrationally angry.
also one of those. It's one of those things that
I'm out.
like it gets some like you talk about how much you hate private equity. This is like weird celebrity investment central that like made a big deal that is getting like investment from Bahrain and LeBron James.
Those pizza places, I may have already mentioned this before, but I love it so much that I mention it every time anything makes me think of it. It reminds me of the Tom Green sketch, so I'm dating myself a little bit here. But my favorite thing that Tom Green ever did on his silly little TV show was something called Undercutter's Pizza, where he would like find a delivery car, a pizza delivery car just like out there. He would follow it. And then when they're about to deliver their pizza, he would run up right behind them with a cheese pizza and a tackle box of toppings, a literal like fishing tackle box of toppings, and try to sell his pizza for cheaper. And it was the funniest.
Would they pull the toppings out of the tackle box and put
Yes.
it on?
Yeah, what'd you order? Okay, I'll put that on it. And believe it or not, the person who got mad was the customer, not the other delivery driver. The customer got so mad that he kicked the tackle box, just sending toppings everywhere. And I just thought that was like such a really funny idea. I don't normally like prank shows or pranks in general, but like that one felt pretty harmless.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that one's fun. I'm staring at this Roma pesto pizza though, and it is just giving me the sexy eyes.
I'm telling you.
Oh man, I can't do another night of pizza. I'm already like screwed up.
I do want to try that hot honey chicken one though, but that spicy Mediterranean, have you had that one? Banana pepper rings, feta, cheese, olive oil, and Italian seasoning.
Ooh. Let's just all get some Cottage Inn tonight. It was either one or two on all of our lists. Is that right?
It was one on all your lists, and I had it at 2 behind Mellow Mushroom. Yeah. And I see some people are mixed on that. Some people saying it's awesome. Some saying that I picked a really mid pizza, but I'll defend it. I would love a holy shiitake right about now.
I want my 1 and 2 spot to be pending. I want to go to Jets one time, and I want to go to Cottage Inn one time, and then I want to make a decision.
What is going to define each chain for you?
I think what I'll do is I'll order like one standard pizza, like just pepperoni, right?
Sure.
Like, let me just see how you do a classic, and then I'll order one specialty pizza.
What's your go-to Jets? Because now,
yeah, it is barbecue chicken with turbo crust. Like that is, that's just, I don't know. That's been the pizza for me since high school. Like if I get a specialty pizza, that's like, it's like comfort food, you know? It might not be the best, but it's like nostalgic.
I very rarely get specialty pizzas, but Cottage Inn is the one place I'll do it because they do it better than anyone else.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now, and that's where,
Well,
and I feel like if you do this,
to...
yeah, go ahead.
No. You finish first.
I was just going to say, I want to do the pepperoni and the specialty. And like, if Jet still does the pepperoni pizza better than Cottage Inn, like I'll keep Jets at number 1. There's something to be said about that.
Sure.
Okay. To get us the hell off of pizza, if I can, just because I know this will just turn into us all ordering pizza.
I'm doing it.
I know.
I'm getting sushi tonight. So
I know. Do you guys have any thoughts whatsoever on I know this is like, wow, worst person you know. Kind of, it's Mike Florio at the heart of this making this delivery, but I was kind of floored by the collusion stuff.
Yeah.
This week. I'm floored in that, like, it's like, yeah, this seems exactly like what we thought these guys always were doing all along. More floored that somehow someone was able to put it into writing and expose it. I'm kind of also floored by how little of a murmur it seems to have generated. And I think a lot of that is coming back to the fact that everyone is trying to protect their ass and their access, their asses and access. Because that's kind of how NFL, especially local media, works these days. Nobody wants to ask pointed questions to anyone on this kind of shit. But this is kind of a big deal that we have a bunch of owners on record all talking about how they are colluding on contracts.
Yeah. So in case no one has seen or read about this,
which is crazy. Yeah.
Pablo Torre is the one who unearthed this 61-page document, which was an arbitration between the NFL and the NFLPA regarding collusion, particularly when it comes to fully guaranteed contracts for quarterbacks.
Which, if you don't remember, it's basically this all stems from the Deshaun Watson thing, which was fully guaranteed. And even back then, I think everyone knew right away, like, other owners hated that contract because it was setting a precedent that it was fully guaranteed. They don't want fully guaranteed contracts to be a reality.
Right. So what's important to point out at the top is that the NFL won the arbitration. They were not have founded to officially have colluded. But there are a couple interesting turns along the way. The first
also,
is that
arbitration is kind of a bit of bullshit too, but yes, go on.
I think the standard of proof for arbitration in that sense it has to be like extremely high.
Companies love arbitration. It's why they're trying to kill class action suits to make people go to an arbitrator, because they can get off a lot easier.
So the most interesting part about the 61-page document is that during this arbitration, the NFLPA called for, what do you call it when like in a court case where you have to declassify all the information? What's that called? There's a term for that. I can't remember.
Nick the Greek help.
No. I have the term right at the top of my head. I've had a bad case of just
someone in chat's gonna know.
No, it's not disclosure. Discovery. Yes. Yeah.
So
it's in discovery. Yeah.
Everything was in discovery here, which means we got text message, we got PowerPoints, we got like a whole bunch of information. So we got like literally text between the Chargers and some other owner after one quarterback signs a non-guaranteed deal, and the Chargers owner's like, hey, thanks for doing that. You know, now things are going to be easier for my quarterback and things like this. Like, very clearly owners in cahoots with each other, at least happy with one team doing one deal, and clearly admitting that one person's deal is going to affect their deal and whatever. The other interesting part of this is that the NFLPA, given all of this information that was made public in this case, for some reason made a seemingly backwards decision to not
sit on it,
leak it. Like, why wouldn't you leak this to the public to like say, hey, we may have lost the arbitration case, but look at all this crap that the NFL is actually doing, that we have proof that they're doing. It was buried for what, like 2 years, 3 years. So I mean, the argument can be made whether it was collusion or not, but like, there's some pretty weird, damning stuff in there that if you're the NFLPA director, certainly you'd want the players to know. Right?
Gosh, yeah. Or else a lot of people would probably consider you to be a wuss if you didn't put it
out. Which, in case you don't understand, one of the, and to be clear, this was a hypothesis on Pablo's part. Mm-hmm. J.C. Treader was the president at the time, isn't the president anymore because he's not a player. You have to be a player to be a president.
But he did get some like cushiony new role.
He sure did.
In his transition out of being president.
Yes, which is another weird turn. But anyways, the idea is that in this discovery, at one point he calls, who is it?
Russell Wilson.
He calls Russell Wilson a wuss or something like a wuss for accepting a non-fully guaranteed deal. Of course, in retrospect, now that he sees what the owners are doing, probably feels a little bit differently, and so maybe he felt a little differently, and he didn't want that going public.
So there's a few things to untangle here, and the first is that, like, the big thing about why antitrust has always not been an issue for the NFL, which it's never really had any kind of, like, it going back to the original cases against the NFL in, I believe it was the 50s and 60s with Radovich versus National Football League, is that the NFL never enjoyed any of the kind of antitrust exemptions that, like, baseball got. And the way that they've been able to get around it is that they've argued is like, look, this isn't one business. This is 32 businesses competing with each other. Each of these teams is a business. So you really can't, like, get seen doing this kind of shit. Don't players congratulate other players when they get a bunch of guarantees? Are they colluding? No, that they're not, because that's a workforce. That's completely different.
They don't have the same decision making. And
yeah, they are
to
not
be clear,
entities.
the one example that I gave was the mildest. The smoking-ish gun of it was a slideshow given at the owners' meetings talking about, hey, let's not do this, please.
Yeah, I mean, the most damning evidence that was visible for everybody to see was the way that all of the NFL teams treated Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
that too.
Which, remember, at the time we were talking about that, Ryan, where, like, even, like, literally the Falcons on their website minutes after the what did the Falcons hit Jackson with? What was that again? It was like
the exclusive free agency tag.
Yeah,
right? Where it's like other teams can negotiate with him on a deal, and, like, the Ravens have the right to match it.
Yeah, but I think we talked about it because within the hour, actually even less than that, I think within the minutes of that kind of going public, Falcons.com's writers had a piece ready to go with Falcons are not interested in Lamar Jackson.
It's a non-exclusive tag. That's what it was called.
Non-exclusive tag. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, it was just wild to have people, like, not just people, but like you said, Chris, the Falcons team website posting an article saying, not interested in Lamar Jackson. Funny enough, it was the offseason after Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. And I believe, what was their option at the time, Ryan? Was it Desmond Ridder?
Yeah. Yeah. They were hitching their wagon to Desmond Ridder.
Did that work out for him? I don't remember.
Not great.
Was Desmond the starter when the Falcons came here? That was the game that Aiden Hutchinson kind of called game by himself. He had the strip sack fumble to end the game that he recovered. I'm pretty sure that was Ridder who was quarterback for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes. Unless it was Marcus Mariota.
Oh,
I think it was Mariota at that point, actually. It was like they were falling apart already at that point.
Was it? I don't know. I'm going to check the tape. Somebody probably knows, but no. Marcus Mariota was not on the team that year.
Yeah, let me see box score. Yeah, it was Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, that was the year they signed Taylor Heineke, so they had their quarterback room set. They didn't need the services of Lamar Jackson.
Interesting. It's kind of frustrating to watch it, considering that, like, this kind of thing, it doesn't seem like a big deal right now, but, like, these are the kind of things that eventually can completely destroy your competitiveness. Like, it's just, I think it's not really news to anyone that the NFL is a bunch of owners doing corrupt things. But I think the rule has always been, if you get caught, there should be consequences, and there just doesn't seem like there's going to be a damn thing done about it.
No, because they technically weren't caught, according to their very high standard of concluding that collusion was there.
And again, I'm kind of in a bit of awe that, I mean, Pablo Torre is doing absolutely fantastic work, but like, besides Mike Florio, there's not a lot of people who are like pounding on the table about this.
Yeah.
The NFL media as a whole, like journalism people as a whole, are failing.
I do wonder if the timing is like, there's nothing in the NFL happening right now. Is that good for timing or is that bad for timing? Because no one's really talking about the NFL. Is it better to do it like in the middle of everyone paying attention to the NFL, or are you just going to get drowned out by other stories? I don't really know the answer to that. Well, I mean, during, like I'm saying, if you drop that in the middle of the season, there's a million other things going on. Are you just going to get drowned out, or do you do it then
I think
because
you would get drowned immediately?
Maybe. Speaking of getting caught, Malik Beasley. Just kidding. I was working on my transition, so
I did that. So for all the people getting off the jokes about the Detroit being the sports gambler athlete capital, he did it when he apparently did it when he was with Milwaukee. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah. No, I was just on this podcast the other week saying that if the Pistons had a really good offseason, that they would surpass the Detroit Lions in terms of when they would get to a title.
Mm-hmm.
This was a definitive step back in that.
I'll take a 7.4, Dan.
In that development.
I laugh because I can't cry.
I hate this line that I'm seeing from a lot of Chris, I think you made that joke on air today. Did I? Which joke was that? Either way, what was my point? Right. I've seen a lot of like gambling guys trying to by the way, thank you for listening, Twin Otter, because you're talking about me with my pick segment on Fox Sports Radio. Thank you. Sorry, I'm going to try to make my head.
Pull it together.
I can't, man. I can't. I'm gonna get my Medicaid cut. I fucking can't. Having a medical crisis and having fucking assholes trying to destroy my fucking health insurance.
So Malik Beasley.
Yeah, sorry. Malik Beasley, right. I've had some gambling guys saying something about like that, you know, oh, this is just showing you, it's like, this isn't a problem with legalization. This is, if anything, legalization means we're able to catch these a lot easier. And I think that is true on its own merit, that this kind of thing, if it was before legalization, would have been probably swept under the rugs a little bit easier because there'd be no system for a book to really narc. On the flip side, ease of access plus the offerings from these books is making it easier to do this, because we're not talking about throwing in we're talking about throwing an entire game or an entire game score. It's just, we're talking about throwing a prop bet, which Malik Beasley absolutely has the power to do that.
Yeah, I just like,
and that he has access on his phone to place these, or someone near him to place these bets for him without actually physically going to a casino. Sorry, Ryan, go on.
No, so that's the part of the ESPN report that I was reading. It was like the one book had noticed like a surge in over bets on Malik Beasley's rebounds when it was set at like 2.5. And like there was just like a huge jam of money that was taking the over. And so it's like he wasn't selling himself. You know what I mean? He wasn't like underperforming. Like he was like 2.5 rebounds. I can do that easy.
So Pete Rose, he's only betting on himself to do well.
I can be a rebound merchant, as the kids say these days. So I don't know. Like I want to see more of it come out. I mean, I truly hope that he wasn't. I just hope that he doesn't get found guilty.
Because he's done, right? Like.
Yeah, he'd be done.
If you're prop betting on yourself, I don't care if it's in the positive or the negative at all. Like, that doesn't matter to me at all.
Yeah, Jonte Porter he's done, right? Yeah. Like, he was the guy who was taking the unders on himself.
Yeah. No, listen, I have been on record many times on this podcast saying I don't like the proliferation of sports betting. I don't do it myself. I think it's a net bad for society. No excuses for him. Zero. Yeah. I don't care how easy it is. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much the NBA is promoting it. No excuse. Zero.
I also think that, like, because I don't know how it is with the NBA, but I definitely know, at least in baseball, because I hear it from the baseball guys all the time. First thing you see, you go into every clubhouse, they got the rule whatever up there, which is basically, it's pinned right up there for everyone to see. Don't gamble on baseball. Like, every league out there should pretty well have a pretty hard line, because the minute you have your guys, because I've had people argue, it's like, well, what's the problem with them gambling? It's because, yeah, cool. Then the integrity starts to really go down. That's basically like, why can't senators do insider trading?
Right. It's I think you're right. Like,
what's wrong with that?
Each league
that's basically
has had their like warning shots already, right? Like you've had it in the NFL, you've had it in the MLB, you've had it in the NBA. I'm sure it probably happened in the NHL. Like you've had these guys that have been the sacrificial lamb, the guys who made the big mistake.
It's been bad in college too. You want to talk about some real bad scandals? It's been like some of the college athletics scandals in the past like couple calendar years has been like what was the baseball guy at Alabama? Like there was a coach. Like
But the point being, like, there have been enough warning shots that you can't plead ignorance anymore. You can't plead, oh well, I didn't know. You can do it from the parking lot. What? Like, no. You know, and you know it's going to ruin your career.
So there's a couple of interesting stories that are floating around. One of them is the gambling person for the Ringer. Works like FanDuel TV too. He said, this was him posting yesterday after the Malik Beasley news came out. He said, I can't speak on this current situation at all, but I had a source who told me Malik Beasley went broke on the plane playing Boo-Ray with other NBA players when he was in Milwaukee.
What is that, a card game? I don't know what that is.
It's like a trick taking like poker game that's like pretty popular like in the South.
Yeah.
But like he also went on to say like, yeah, like he was like getting raked over the coals playing Boo-Ray on the team plane and playing dice.
Oops.
But it's funny because I heard Max Scherzer told a story about this too. Like he was like, yeah, those card games in 2015 we were playing on the plane. He's like, I lost so much money that I felt uncomfortable with it. And I called Scott Boras and was like, you need to send me like 1,000 trading cards. Like you need to send me 2,000 trading cards to sign to offset like some of my gambling losses. Cause it's like, so like this was just an opportunity, I think, for him to recoup things. Cause like Evander Kane, I don't know if you followed any of that stuff, but like Evander Kane, like was in debt to the casinos, like up to his eyeballs, the hockey player for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Like gambling, right? And like I think not all of it is just like through the books. Like if you're like a middling NBA player on like an okay, deal, and you're gambling with, I don't know, Giannis, he's got way more money than you. Like big bank take little bank.
Yeah, that's the thing that I find in the whole discourse where it's like, well, it can't be Black Sox. These are legitimate books. They'd never be like, trying to get you in deep and then need you to take a fall or something. It's like, okay, but there's other ways to do this too. And if you are someone like Beasley, you ultimately, with your props, have control over your props. Suddenly it goes from the entire White Sox team trying to, get shoeless Joe Jackson on board to throw the World Series to you just need to manipulate. You just need to decide tonight you're either going to go over or under on your rebounds. That's all it takes.
Yeah, and the most annoying thing I've seen out of it is people being like, yeah, look at the ball that he let go out of bounds when he could have shot a 3 to win the game against. Or he was clearly betting on the Knicks. Like, okay,
or the Ant, or that whole line against Ant that he had on Twitter or whatever people have like picked up on. But like, yeah, I don't.
No, he was talking about just like total 3-pointers in the NBA season because he finished second in the NBA in total 3-pointers made, and he needed Ant to make like less than 7. And Ant had more than him. So again, people are taking that and just making a TikTok out of it and getting 1 million views and getting paid for it. Man, our society's in a great place.
Yeah, The worst part on this too is like it feels like it's the economy, the economification, the financialification of everything. Because like a Reef's whole piece on gambling and gambling addiction just continues to haunt me, especially when it comes to like how these books, even who will like bug you more if you are down deep in the debt. Right. And it's like losing a lot and they start knowing they can start tightening screws. But also too, like I have some friends at work who are really into like card collecting. And one of my friends also trying to get his kids, just some like Pokemon cards or whatever. And he's talking about how depressed he gets when it's then you go on like Twitch or something and guys are ripping off $10,000 of booster packs in Pokemon or like games for kids, but literally just doing this so they can find the one shiny card so they can flip it on, fucking eBay or whatever, while also making money, like basically ripping card packs open. Like we've turned everything into a financial instrument and it fucking sucks. You can't have a single thing of joy. And everyone is now like, well, if you like sports, put money on it.
Not wrong. Have you seen the clip from, it was like 2021. Beasley, I think he was still in the Bucks at that point.
He's at the top of the key and the guy just goes right by him.
No, I've seen that one a few times.
Oh, the full court rebound and scoring the two meaningless points to cover?
Yeah, you're down 9 and it's a 7.5 point line, and he just dunked, like he literally at the very last second was able to dunk, which I thought it was funny, but I was also very skeptical. I'm like, this feels like engagement bait. I was like, let me be detective. I'm going to quote tweet it and say, actually, this was a game from this time, and that wasn't the line. The line was 7.5, but it was 2021, which is not like where any of these charges are stemming from.
Yeah. Real quick, because this is actually relevant to us. So the Pistons did pull the what was the deal going to be? 2 years, $40 million for? It was
I think it was 3 years, 46 or something like that.
Well, apparently the Pistons settled on the other direction. They're going to do. Sham's just saying the Pistons are signing Karis LeVert, 2 years, $29 million.
Is that the Michigan guy, LeVert?
Yeah, I mean, like,
did he play? Yeah, he went to he went to UM. Yeah.
Look at me knowing college basketball. We'll pat on the back. All right, I think we should get back into the show. Unless you have one more thing
I don't want to talk about Karis LeVert, that's for sure. Like, he's an upgrade over Tim Hardaway Jr., but
yeah, it doesn't exactly resolve the.
I know you want to get out of here at 8 anyway, so let's
you don't want to talk about the Red Wings? Okay, let's go.
I absolutely do not want to talk about the Red Wings.
We didn't talk about the Michigan Panthers getting their crap kicked in on the championship. We could go back to that.
Do that either. Listen, man, I watched Scooble fucking Deal last night. We do not need to keep dredging up bad memories.
I was there in person. It was great.
I know. You didn't jinx it. Congratulations.
It's a good one. It's a good one to be at.
Yeah. There was like, I know,
Sunday night baseball and everything. Yeah.
But no, there was like a legit feeling after he had 8 Ks through 3 innings.
God, it was like, wasn't it like five through the first 2?
Yeah, and I think
something like that.
I think it was either 7 or 8 through 3.
Yeah.
At that point, like you can't but help have a feeling that this might be like a no hitter or a perfect game type of game. So yeah, you go 9 up, 9 down, and I mean he gave up 1. He gave up a single hit, and I was so sad when it happened.
He's awesome though,
and it's because Reno left his goddamn seat. It's his fault.
I do enjoy. Sorry, we will get back to this, but I do enjoy that. Considering 10 years ago, like 12, 13 years ago, I'm just sitting there marveling at having Verlander out there and being like, I'm just blessed to watch this because I don't know if I'm gonna ever see like a pitcher like that for the Tigers again. And Scooble is doing all of that and then some.
Oh yeah, like he's at this point, like he's putting a 1.5 year stretch of like anything better than Verlander did.
Yeah, or Scherzer.
And like that's not a knock on what Verlander or Scherzer did by any means.
Yeah, no, by any means, no, it's not.
Okay,
it's like they set a really high bar and then somehow he's just going higher.
Sorry, last thing before we get into it, Parker over on YouTube says, "Jeremy, what do you think of Hungry Howie's?" And then did a little winky smile face. And if I'm reading this correctly, the signs he's putting out there, and I think I told you about this, Ryan. Last year I ordered Hungry Howie's, and the delivery driver recognized me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what that is. I think I think it was Parker. In which case, Hungry Howie's probably deserved a little bit of a shout out because they were innovators with the flavored crust.
Flavored crust, yeah.
And I ordered a ton of Hungry Howie's when I was at Michigan.
Yeah.
We never had a Hungry Howie's in Toledo, so I just never thought of them.
Parker confirms. I do remember you. I think he now knows where I live, though.
I know. Yeah, don't dox yourself. I think your taste just developed because you diversify a little bit more. Like Hungry Howie's was like my favorite pizza when I was in high school.
Yeah.
That exact reason. Even in college, like their calzones were always like, man, this is enough food, to Chris's point about like a $5, lunch deal for Little Caesars. Like one of their calzones would feed you for like 2 or 3 days, maybe.
Yeah. I don't think I ever ventured in the calzone.
Yeah. But I don't know. They just weren't on my radar at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's get back to it. I should probably change the text at the bottom, but you can.
Sorry, I kind of like stumbled on her too. Twin Otter. Once again, thank you for listening to that. And yeah, it is. I am very happy with it. I think one of the other hosts I talked to is actually joking about that he's going to rip it off if he's ever going to get a weekday show. That is just going to completely do the same thing where it's like, yeah, I'm just going to make up silly prop bet over-unders. I'm like, how dare you? That's me. I'm actually going to pitch it to Rob Parker for the football season as well. Maybe I'll do that as a weekly thing on Odd Couple.
His close, warm, personal friends.
Yeah, I haven't talked with him in a while. It's just kind of been... He's like breaking in a new co-host and everything. He also has his own gambling segment, but the name of it is very unfortunate, and I keep telling him he needs to change it. It's Shekel City.
Not great, Rob.
Man. Listen, man. Grew up in the 70s in like in Queens. You can kind of feel like you do everything. All right. Listcast time. Side note addendum before we begin, just to show you where my brain is at. I tried typing in stopwatch to pull up the stopwatch app on my computer, and I think I might have triggered some sort of latent Dutch genes because I put in stoopwatch with 2 O's. So
necessary information for the podcast. Thank you.
I listen. I've been screwing up words all day long as my brain continues to cook like a sunny side up egg. So just let the people know. We'll also let you know that this is your brain on PODcast. This is the part of Listcast where we start talking about wide receivers and we're bunching in tight ends, basically receiver cores for the NFC North. So this should be a fun one. I think maybe we actually get a little bit of contentiousness in a couple places. Although I think we can all go ahead and actually let me ask you. Let me start. Who is number 1 for you, Jeremy? Is it the Lions?
I don't want to do number 1. Can we just all first start with 4? Just to shit on the Packers.
4 are the Packers the ones that we're shitting on?
Yeah.
Like have they passed over? Because I think the problem is, Ryan, it was your idea to add in tight ends. Mm-hmm. And as little as I think of Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave, the Bears, I'm sorry, you can't get me to buy on the Cole Kmet stock, no matter what you do, or the Colston Loveland stock, like any of this stuff. Like I think there's some arguments between the Packers and Bears on which one is number 4, but I'm happy to say Packers are 4th.
I think the Packers are pretty comfortably 4th because I think and this isn't a knock on Jaden Reed because I think he's a really good receiver, but I think he's their best receiver. until Matthew Golden develops.
Yep.
Or Christian Watson plays a full healthy season.
Yeah. See, I don't know. The Christian Watson thing is it's on again, off again. Romeo Dobbs seems like he's a hot and cold receiver. I do like their tight end depth, and I think bringing those guys in, like, I think Tucker Kraft is good. I think Luke Musgrave's good. I think those guys are maybe, like, as far as depth goes, I think they might have the best depth in the NFC North at tight end. I think you can make an argument for Hawkinson and Oliver. But yeah, the Packers are by far and away the fourth in the NFC North. We all agree on that, right?
I think so. And to pull some stats in here, they had the third most drops last year, second highest drop rate at 6.9%.
And how many were in that Lions game? There were so many drop balls in that Lions game.
And by the way, while we're talking about drop percentage, Packers 31st at 6.9, Lions second best at 2.2. That's that is a chasm between 2 and 31st.
And they had Jameson Williams on their team.
Right. And yeah, so listen, I like Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed to me is like a really good wide receiver too.
He's a perfect wide receiver too.
He might be the best wide receiver too in football. But even that feels like a stretch. And then you have a bunch of guys who should have been good wide receiver twos, maybe even wide receivers ones in Christian Watson, in Romeo Dobbs. And yeah, it didn't pan out for those guys. And I'm not saying it can't, but it hasn't, so I can't be like, that's a good receiving core. Tucker Kraft, though, 707 yards and 7 touchdowns last year. Luke Musgrave, he's been dealing with injuries, but in his rookie season, he had 352 yards and a touchdown in 11 games.
Mm-hmm.
If he can stay healthy, I'm with you. That might be the best 1-2 tight end punch in the league, although I would say both Minnesota and Chicago both have two pretty good 1-2 punches at tight end as well.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
The problem with saying that with the Bears one is, like, I don't know how I feel about Kmet still. Like, because I feel like it's just kind of been a lot of just last year is kind of the upshot for Kmet. And also just Colson Loveland felt like a very odd pick for what they were doing. If I remember, there was another tight end on the board and they kind of like swerved where a lot of people thought they'd go with the other option. So like it's a young offense for the Chicago Bears, to be sure. I just don't think, like, you know, I struggle to see the vision with the tight ends being more than just their passing package. Like they don't seem like the well-rounded tight ends that we would get in Detroit, which is more to the style for something like Ben Johnson. But also too, like, headlining the wide receiver with DJ Moore, it's very hard for me to look at the Bears receiving core right now and say, like, and like really see the upshot on them right now. Like, Luther Burden is going to have to be something great.
The Bears are Chris's 3. Are they your 3 as well, Ryan?
They're my 3. I do want to put a button note on the end of the Packers discussion and say, are they being held back by quarterback play? I just want to put that out there.
I mean, they're getting great reps and, with the second team in practice, I'm sure.
It's amazing how the second team always looks better than the first team. I mean, even when Tim Boyle's throwing the ball, right? He's got the strongest arm in the NFL.
Let's not stretch that far.
I'll
play along with your
Malik Willis love.
Yeah.
All right. The Bears, though, they are my number 3. Are they your number 3 too, Jeremy? I don't want to say that they're so far ahead of the Packers, but like DJ Moore is just like the best of like that whole group.
They're my 3, but man, in a year and a half they could be 1 because they have put so much investment into that group. Right. DJ Moore, obviously not their pick, but a former first-round pick that they traded for. Roma Dunze, first-round pick. Luther Burden, second-round pick. Colson Loveland, I said his name wrong again. First-round pick. Cole Kmet, second-round pick. Like,
I do think
their top 5 pass-catching options are all first- and second-round picks.
Yeah, I do think Adunze is the one with the most upshot there. Like, I think eventually I'd even go as far as saying, like, I feel like Adunze is going to be their receiving leader this year.
Oh,
over DJ Moore.
No shot. Here's the thing I feel about the Bears. If this doesn't work out, they're screwed. Like long term, like if Romo
Yeah.
Dunze like doesn't, I mean, he had a pretty ho hum first season. I mean, I know that can kind of be said for Caleb Williams too. So it was like, okay, well, we're not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. So you bring in Ben Johnson. Like, I think you need to see a lot more from Romo Dunze. I think DJ Moore has an argument for being the third or fourth best receiver in the entire NFC North.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Like third, I think it's definitely in the conversation. My question with him though is like, how would he Ben Johnson gonna get along? Because there were effort questions last year, right? There were some plays that looked like he took off, and then already there's been like a little like Ben Johnson pulled him aside and talked to him about his body language at practice, and I'm just like, I know Ben Johnson's a bit of a hard ass, and I don't know if DJ Moore is just like glided along in his first 5 or 6 years or whatever it's been, and not had kind of a disciplinarian in the room, but Ben Johnson's going to be a little bit of a disciplinarian for him, and I'm kind of curious how long he's going to put up with that, especially if the wins don't come early for Chicago.
This is why I'm kind of on the opposite side of DJ Moore of you guys. Like, I think what we had last year is just kind of feels like a lot of like, okay, cool, but I'm just not sure how much further he can get taken with this. Like, he had a very good 2023 numbers. I think, what was it, 1,300 yards, but it's really hard for me to chart out, what's he going to be, 28 this year? It's hard for me to chart out versus some of the other younger options that they've gotten, but more to the fact, it's like, it's the attitude on everything too. And it's like, I know from talking with some people from Chicago, it's like, it felt like Odunze was what they were hoping. I think they were hoping for a bigger year out of Odunze, but like, we've seen plenty of other rookie receivers kind of have those ho-hum years too. So I guess the issue is like, this is also half now someone else's roster that Ben Johnson's getting. So
I do want to throw it out there that I think these three could really, by the end of the season, be in any order. I truly do believe that.
Bears,
the
Lions,
and Vikings
and Bears
could finish the season in any order.
Yeah,
and that's just because of investment. And the reason why I can't put the Bears any higher than 3 is because it's all potential right now, right? DJ Moore, well established. Rome Odunze getting there, but Luther Burden very much a question mark. Cole Kmet was awesome in 2023, but took a step back last year. And then obviously Colston Loveland, not only his rookie season, but he's coming off a major injury as well. So it's just, there's too many question marks, but with so much investment in those positions, if everything falls the right way, under new offense, young quarterback, could be a very, very good group of receivers.
But what if it doesn't? Then I think
what if it gets Chicago? What if it's just Chicago at the end of the day?
I'm not going to do that to them.
Why not?
Because they did it to the Lions for 6 decades.
Yeah, I know. Turnabout is fair play. Turnabout's fair play, isn't it?
We got to be the bigger man.
All right.
No, we don't.
Who has the Lions at 1?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
Again, Ryan, you included tight ends with this, and I'm not taking TJ Hawkinson over Sam Laporta.
I'm taking Justin Jefferson over almost all of the wide receivers in the NFL. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
I think you have Justin Jefferson. For as much as I say like rude things about Jordan Addison, he's really good. That's a 1-2 punch that you can put up against just about any other one in the league. And TJ Hawkinson is still a good football player. Like, I'm not going to poo-poo on him too much just because he's not a Lion anymore, but he's still
I poo-pooed on him when he was a Lion. I poo-pooed on when he was here. Like,
I saw some people comparing TJ Hawkinson to Eric Ebron. I'm like, what? No.
Oh, that's
what
a little
much. Selective memory do you have?
That's.
I mean, this goes back to the point I made in the first segment. Now he's a full year away from that MCL ACL tear, right? That year he had 960 yards and 5 touchdowns. Took a little bit step back last year because he missed the first half of the season. I think TJ Hawkinson and Josh Oliver are a push with Sam Laporta and Brock Wright. And
I'd say that'd be fair.
I think that when it comes to comparing the Vikings and Lions, Like Jefferson's definitely the one over any guys the Detroit Lions have. I just like I think the Lions are a little bit deeper.
No, yeah, I agree.
Because like Jordan Addison is probably very fun, assuming he stays away from a bottle. But Jalen Naylor, Ty Felton, like who's a third round rookie for them, like
there's not good depth there at all. And
no.
And I mean, if you want to be a very stickler to, just talking about this year, like Addison could get suspended. He's got a court date in a month. Well, no, he hasn't gotten suspended yet.
Oh, that's right. He hasn't gotten suspended yet.
He still has not gotten a suspension from falling asleep in the wheel on the highway. And so there's a court date in July. The NFL typically waits for the court proceedings to play out. He's already pleaded not guilty. We'll see where that goes. If he's gone, like, who is going to step up? Is it Jalen Naylor, who's been pretty unimpressive so far? Or is it, like you said, Ty Felton, who to me he is just a pure slot guy. And he's like $178. He can be kind of.
He definitely can't do what Jordan Addison can do, which is just take the top off someone.
Right. Now, Kevin O'Connell, I think, can get a little creative with Ty Felton. He's a speedy guy. He's a guy, I think like 30% of his catches in college were screen passes. So you can use him a little bit as a gadgety guy, but
that's kind of like Luther Burden, though. That was the thing,
right.
like coming in, to the NFL with him. They're like, oh man, he was in this super gimmicky offense in Missouri. I will say the other thing about Jordan Addison, though, is, I mean, he did play 30% of his snaps last year in the slot. So I don't know, maybe that's kind of like their 1-to-1 if they need to call on him. But Justin Jefferson's just so damn good. Like, it's no knock on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
No.
How does JMO factor into this, though?
I think that's the wild card for the Lions, right? Like, we keep talking about the big season we all think Jameson Williams is going to have, and if he does have that season, and you keep getting the same production out of Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that's where we start to now have the argument between Lions and Vikings. But that requires you to put some faith in JMO.
And I don't think he's hit his peak. I trust the coaching staff when they say you ain't seen nothing thus, scratching the surface, all that sort of stuff. But there is part of me that I need to see the consistency that I'm hoping he finally does. And to be clear, he's made a huge step in consistency from year 2 to year 3, now in year 4.
With air quotes for the audio listeners. He's using air quotes there.
I tried to emphasize the syllables to designate that. But yes, it's a joke. That's not how I think syllables is pronounced, to be clear. And so, JMO is definitely the wild card that could, I think, push the Lions over the top here and really push them into the conversations of having, the best 1-2 punch in the NFL. I just think right now, I mean, with Justin Jefferson, he's averaging 96.5 yards per game over his career. Think about that for a second.
Sam Darnold was his quarterback last year.
How many wide receivers do you think have averaged more than that over their career? 96.5 yards per game.
We keep using the term 1-2 punch, talking about wide receiver pairs. Jefferson is the 1-2 punch himself.
How many, Jeremy?
0.
Oh,
He is the NFL leader in yards per game over a career.
And I love me some DeAndre Hopkins, and he played with a graveyard of quarterbacks.
Yeah, he sure did.
Justin Jefferson has put up some big numbers with the likes of the Pastronaut, Josh Dobbs,
sure,
Nick Mullins, Sam Darnold. Like, he's putting together quite his Rolodex of quarterbacks that might not throw another pass in the NFL.
He is just like the absolute game changer where you have no choice but to bracket him. You have to play him differently than you play 99% of the other wide receivers. And I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you don't bracket him like you bracket Justin Jefferson.
It really feels like it's like Jefferson and Chase. Like, that's the chocolate and vanilla. Like,
yeah,
you can make an argument for either of those guys being one. But I think to your point, Jeremy, you said, these top 3 teams could move. I think Jameson Williams is the most important player of those 3 teams that have that maneuverability between being 1 and 3. Like, if he has a year where he has 1,200 yards receiving and he's a 17-yard a catch guy and he catches 70 balls, like, this offense is still going to be really damn good.
I think we should move back to the depth conversation, because I do think amongst all these teams, the Lions probably have the best depth. Now, I say that fully acknowledging that I know the Lions' depth a lot better than I know some of the other teams' depth. Like, I don't see wide receiver 5 on the Packers practice in training camp and things like that. But Khalif Raymond is a good receiver, and he's just sitting there. We don't know what Taslaw looks like, but they invested enough in him to believe that, if he has to step in and play 6 games, there's a belief that he can at least play the part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we pointed out the Vikings don't really have that depth. Maybe Green Bay does, because they just got all of the wide receiver 2s in the league.
Yeah, they picked up like Mecole Hardman, I believe. And like,
just the definition of a wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying, I would feel much different about this if KJ Osborne was still in Minnesota.
Right, because he just kills the Lions and only the Lions. Yeah, so I don't know.
Do you all have the same list?
I mean, I think the point of this, our new form of listcast here, isn't for us to make individual lists like we did in the break over national pizza places. It's more about what is this podcast consensus of how the NFC North shakes out. Because I feel like, I think the difference is we just haven't had anything really to argue with here, other than like I'm probably more down on the Bears and higher up on like Jameson Williams. But I think we all have the same rankings here as 1, 2, 3, 4. Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers.
And like I said, I really do think 1 and 3 are very, very tight. And I think what you'll find is, as we continue to go on, like, all of these are getting tighter, right? Offensive line is way different than the rankings were last year.
Yeah.
Try like 90 days ago.
Right. Also true.
Yeah. That is very true.
And it feels wrong not to put the Vikings number 1 because they have the number 1 guy, but I listened to a lot of arguments about the Lions again, which would be the third straight list cast in which we'd have the Lions first, because of the depth, because of Jameson Williams, because of the variety really that their receiving core has. And if you want to really get into the nitty gritty, the run blocking, right? That matters too.
That's Josh Oliver. Like, I mean, the Vikings paid him a pretty penny this offseason for an extension, and he's like one of the best run blocking tight ends in the NFL.
Sure. But that receiving core, do they block as good as Tim Patrick does? Put enough effort?
Does?
As St. Brown does?
It's more part of the
points
game.
For run blocking.
If we're handing out awards to offensive linemen now, let's show a little love for receivers and their blocking.
Will DJ Moore run block for Ben Johnson, or will he just kind of throw up his hands?
Dude, I'm just saying that I think if Ben Johnson works in Chicago, DJ Moore might end up having the second best season of any wide receiver in the NFC North.
No. Whoa. That I won't get on board on yet.
My hot take.
Have
DJ
a hot
Moore
take.
Gone at the trade deadline.
Oh, hello.
Roshan Johnson ascendant.
To Detroit? DJ Moore to Detroit?
Absolutely not.
Wow. Well, I mean, if they're at the bottom of the NFC and you need another weapon to make a push,
they'll trade him to the Chiefs.
Oh God, please. You have been way too prophetic with some of these like random throwaway things, Ryan. You cannot be coming on here saying cursed shit like that.
Chris, what's your big hot take about wide receivers in the NFC North?
I can't think right now. So like I'm screwing up my words nonstop. So I'm like struggling to even think of a hot take.
Something Romo Dunze related.
I feel like I'm him. I'm high on Roma Dunze. That's my extremely hot take, apparently. No, I think you know what? I'm going to go tight end. I think we get it's hard to say Sam Laporta is going to have a bounce back season, because I think we all acknowledge that like anyone saying Sam Laporta had kind of a ho-hum sophomore season is kind of discounting how damn good his rookie season was. But I think we're going to start to get, I think Laporta is going to get more involved in, it's going to look a little bit more like year one again in year three. Maybe not at the clip of we keep comparing him to the numbers of
Mike Ditka.
Of Mike Ditka's playing days. Yes, thank you. But I think he's going to factor a little bit. He'll factor a little bit more into the offense with the
John
Lions
Morton.
this year. John Morton. Yeah. Thank you.
Didn't go to tight end U this year though. Maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah, but he was getting blessed by the Pope.
That's true. He was busy getting blessed by the Pope.
And that is the other reason why I think Sam Laporta's year three is going to look a lot more like year one because the Pope, baby.
That's all you needed to do to have the hot take. The Chicago Pope.
No, hold on. It's the Chicago Pope, but think about it. What is his papal name, Ryan?
Now you're putting me on the spot.
Leo the 14th. Leo as in
Lion?
I mean, if a Chicago Pope is blessing a Detroit Lions tight end, what else proof do you need that he's a defector?
Ave Maria.
It's beautiful.
Let's get out of here. What do we got coming up this week?
Midweek mailbag. Back on the podcast feed, and maybe a first bite. I would say doubtful on a first bite for Pride of Detroit Direct subscribers. That's maybe a little bit more likely next week.
I've been dropping the ball pretty hard on scraps, but there will be one this week. And I'm going to try to get that a lot more consistent from here on out as we get closer to the season. So expect a scraps about ranking our favorite pizza places and what happened this past week with the NFL and a collusion case that nobody seems to really be talking about. So, all that coming to your feed and more. Until then, for myself, as my brain fries, Jeremy Reisman and Ryan Matthews, we'll see you Starside.
Recording stopped.
All right.
All right, I'm ordering sushi. So I probably have about
pizza.
5 minutes.
I have Cottagen's website up.
You bastards.
It's so good though.
I just did a massive run. I just did a massive grocery run earlier, so I am the only one not ordering food. I will be making a salami sandwich tonight instead. Chicken pita. I don't know if I've talked about this, but like I think I shared these with Ryan. Did I share this on the podcast? Like that there are these really good sandwich chicken pita sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, freezer chicken pita sandwiches. Did I share that on the podcast?
I don't recall that.
Well, if you look these up, they're in the freezer. It's called Sandwich Bro. It's called Sandwich Bros Chicken Melts.
Oh,
But they are like it's basically a chicken patty, like a chicken finger with cheese in like a pita half. They were cheap and good work day meal, I guess.
okay.
It's better than Petaway asking me to provide my child in order to get a kid's bowl.
Wait, what?
That was a you and me conversation.
Yeah, I think we were off air for that.
Oh.
That was after first bite.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I love Petaway. It's one of my favorite places to pick up food. And I was in line. The kids' bowl is the perfect size for my wife because, like, it's not great to have leftovers. You can't really warm it up. So she always gets the kids' bowl. And I went to get a kids' bowl. And like Jeremy said, I probably just caught the manager. So I was like, yeah, I'll do one bowl and then I'll do a kids' bowl. And they're like, is the child present? I was like, looking around. I was like, no. He's like, all right, well, then it's an upcharge. It's like, oh, what are we doing here? Just fine, then just give me the normal bowl.
That's wild.
No knock on Petaway, though. I'm just saying that McDonald's doesn't ask for the, away
It's like,
from the kid for a
where's your
Happy
kid?
Meal.
You want the Happy Meal? Where's the kid?
Yeah. Ronald McDonald will come to your house and audit, see if you have any children in the house.
take the
just
extras back with him.
How much money are you actually saving there by pissing off a customer?
And I'm not trying to be too upset about it, but I am salty about it. Not to be too upset, but I am salty.
I think maybe the move there is just to like find a kid in the crowd and be like, that's him.
Somebody who's like clearly sitting with another adult who was there before I arrived.
That's the guy. That's old Charlie over there.
I'm buying it for him. He told me on the way in, he's like, I could do another bowl.
That's right.
Like, what do you want? You want Euro meat?
I don't know my cottage line.
Oh God, I just had Euros the other day, and I am now. I had Euros on Saturday, and I spent most of Sunday before I got a pizza craving Euros again. That is something I will repeat quite a bit.
Yeah, that's like a repeat.
The only problem is the Euro place that I really like in LA. They do very good platters with basmati rice for Euros, but their wraps will completely fall apart from the white sauce. By the time I get it unwrapped, it's just like, it's one of those things you got to keep like wrapped half in foil just to basically hold it together.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna send you guys the sushi menu from where I'm ordering sushi, and you tell me.
Let's see. So, are you mostly looking for rolls?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get 3 rolls.
My always standby roll, no matter what I order, I always make sure I get like a Philadelphia roll as like just kind of a basic palate cleanser there.
Yeah, they have
salmon, avocado.
Yeah, they have a salmon cheese roll that I think I'm gonna do. It's like smoked salmon with cream cheese and eel sauce.
There you go. Let me see. So they got some tempura rolls. What are these? Fried California roll, chicken cheese roll.
I know I won't be getting the Red Wings roll. I know that.
Lobster tempura feels like a waste of lobster, but yeah, lobster cream cheese. Yeah, all these tempura ones, they're basically the same thing. Let me see it. Oakland roll. I think the problem is, as I see more and more of these like rolled things, is like they all start to just sound the same. It's they're all good, but
yeah, like when you have too many things on the menu, kind of thing.
But it's all using the same thing. It's like, here's all of these feel like a variation of crab, tuna, spicy tuna, salmon, spicy salmon, shrimp tempura with avocado, mayo, or cream cheese. Like it just kind of, it all starts to blend together after a bit.
Am I wrong in being offended by non-raw sushi rolls? If you don't want sushi, just don't go to a sushi place. Why you gotta
fry it, like deep fry it? We gotta deep fry everything. I get it. It's a bit pure. It's a bit purist of you.
You know what? I'm trying to yuck someone's yum.
You are yucking.
It's the wrong
yums.
move.
You are yucking the yum.
It's the wrong move. It's the wrong move. I'm in the wrong.
Let me see here. Let me get out of these.
I'm not a perfect person.
But
as Hoobastank once said.
I don't. You said Hoobastank, but I thought you said Scuba Steve for some reason. I'm like, is that really
I thought he said Scuba Steve too.
Scuba Steve quote. I do think your point stands though, Jeremy. Like, if you're gonna get something that's like deep fried, like there's probably like another place to go to get deep fried food that's like better than sushi.
Counterpoint, and I will give this to you, Ryan, as a suggestion for a roll. Spider rolls are always great, and that's basically like fried soft shell crab. But I think I know what you mean. Yeah. Those spider rolls usually what I go for a lot of this stuff. I was seeing I would say that Michigan roll sounds, either the Michigan roll or the dynamite roll sound. No, wait. Kamikaze and Michigan both sound good as well. Anything with eel on it. I love unagi. I love Japanese freshwater eel. It's an acquired texture, but yeah, love that stuff. When I was at Wake Forest, when I was taking Japanese, our TA from, I forget which university she was from, but she did like an unagi rice bowl night over at her house. And that was always very good.
Okay. I know I'm not getting the Red Wings role. I know that just off principle.
Why you're such a hater? I
Notice they don't have a Detroit Lions role. What would be in a Detroit Lions role?
I'm already working on the Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid. I'm going to have to come up with a Detroit Lions sushi roll as well.
What food is the grittiest? What kind of meat?
Yeah. What's the toughest to chew?
Probably
calamari.
Sea urchin. I was going to say sea urchin, but like how dare you just search calamari's not that hard to eat.
I love it. I feel
It's
like
chewy,
if you get
it can be tough.
No, it could be tough, I think.
Most squid is tough when cooked, yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to seriously focus on this now because I don't think I'm any closer to having an order, but I appreciate your guys' input.
We tried.
You guys did try.
Hey, sorry about everything Lions love. Appreciate you stopping by and sharing your
Oh, yeah, I saw that in chat, too.
Sorry, man.
Sorry for your loss.
It's tough. I do have a couple more alerts, including Lions loves, that I didn't get to in the first segment. So let me do that, and then we'll get out of here. Go Play 9, thank you for the 22-month subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that. Space Kataz 41 months says sub love forever. Duck Lines 28 months subscribed on Twitch. Lions Blood 47 months subscribed. Detroit Dennis 11 months says rename Belle Isle to Dan Cam Belle Isle.
I like that a lot, actually.
I kind of like that a lot. And then Line Love 69. I had to put down my dog today. Named him Reggie after Reggie Bush 11 years ago. Thanks for being there today, boys. Anytime, my friend. Sorry again. It's something that us dog lovers, unfortunately, all kind of sign up to eventually have to do. But you remember for the good days. So
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Like we said, we'll have first bite. I'm guessing it's going to be Thursday. It might be Wednesday, but I got a weird schedule this week. I'm going to be house sitting for 10 days, so you'll see a different background by green screen.
Someone asked me the other week if I was still streaming, and I haven't been for a few months. I've got a lot to clean up here, but feel like maybe a Tiki Tuesday tomorrow. I'd love to say yes, and I can get back in the swing of things, but just it's been very hard for me to concentrate, but I do want to start streaming again soon. So
there you go.
Make sure you're following Chris at twitch.tv/nodecaf. That's NODEKAF.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. With that, I think we're going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out on this, Monday night? We'll see you guys again sometime soon.
In July. Training camp month.
Whoa.
July already.
Flipping that calendar to football.